The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, make sure y'all smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. You know, right now we're back home in familiar territory, patrolling the streets of North Miami. And I wanted to just get my thoughts on Jaron Ennis and his recent performance against Sergey Lipinets, because this was supposed to be Jaron Ennis' toughest fight to date. You know, when we talk about Sergey Lipinets, we're not talking about a guy that's creme de la creme or the top of the welterweight division, but we're talking about a guy that's a strong, sturdy, durable, top 10, top 15, you know, top 20, credible welterweight. You know, a guy that's not chopped liver. The guy's not a bum. You know, it's the same Sergey Lipinets that blasted Lamont Peterson out the ring, and everybody used to gas up Lamont Peterson, saying how great he was and how underrated he was. But then when Lipinets beat him, they said Lamont Peterson wasn't nothing. So make of that what you will, but it was a good fight for him, you know. Lipinets was getting hit with a lot of shots. I mean, Ennis, I watch a lot of boxing. I watch American boxing. I watch a lot of British boxing, European boxing, Japanese boxing. I watch boxing from all over the world, you know. And there's very few fighters that when I watch them fight, I'm mesmerized by their skills. You guys ever been around, you guys, like, I'm not talking to the simps out there, so if you're a simp and you put and you sacrifice your self-worth for some affection and some validation from women, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my masculine men out there. If you guys ever, like, get around women, a particular woman, and you don't act mesmerized, but you are mesmerized by them. It's the same thing watching Jaron Ennis. Like, look, I love boxing and I love fighters, but there's not many fighters that when I watch them, I get mesmerized by their skills, you know. This guy, when I watch him fight, I get mesmerized by his skills. I get mesmerized by watching him fight. I get mesmerized by the speed, the athleticism, the fundamentals, the versatility. Everything this guy brings to the table is just great for the sport of boxing, you know. The ability to switch hit, the ability to throw 5-6 punches, varying from head to body. I mean, Jaron Ennis, and I'm not, and don't get me confused when I say this. I'm not saying he's the best welterweight in the world. I'm saying he's the most skilled welterweight in the world. I believe this guy at 23 years old has more tools in his toolbox than any welterweight in the world, and that includes Terrence Crawford. Now, that doesn't mean he would beat a Terrence Crawford, because there are questions about Jaron Ennis' chin, his durability, and Lipinets tested him a little bit last night, but I still haven't seen it tested to where I need to see it tested to know where his chin is right now. But skill-wise, there is no more skilled welterweight than Jaron Ennis. You know, Crawford, I think, is better, you know, in terms of all the overall as a fighter, because I think he's meaner. I think he's meaner. I think you know, it's not all about skills. Skills matter, but you got to have the whole package. I don't know if Jaron Ennis has the whole package, but in terms of pure skills, he does have the whole package, if that makes sense. So, you know, last night against Lipinets, you know, I saw Lipinets in spots of that fight, you know, land some good overhand rights, and he took it well, you know, and he kept coming forward, and he kept throwing good, hard, solid shots. Another thing I like about Jaron Ennis is that he listens to his dad. He listens to Boosie Ennis in the corner really well, and you know, he doesn't ever take his instruction for granted. You know, I saw him, I think it was in the 3rd or 4th round, he told Boots to when he gets in the pocket, he told him to throw a punch to the head, punch to the body, pivot out and turn. And literally the next round, that's what Jaron Ennis did. And he actually wound up hurting Lipinets in that round. So Boots is a fantastic fighter all the way around, from his mindset to his skills to everything he brings to the sport. And you know, I think it's time, man. I think it's time for boxing. I think it's time for the boxing establishment, for the media, for everybody to start calling for this guy to get his big time fights. Because how can you like boxing? How can you proclaim to be a fan of boxing and not love what this guy brings to the ring? I mean, for Christ's sakes, when I'm sure some of you watching this video, you guys had picked up a pair of boxing gloves at some point in time. Half the shit that Jaron Ennis does in the ring, I'm sure all of us would wish we could do that at some point, you know. But there's some things that you just can't teach in boxing, and he's got those undeniable gifts and undeniable skills that all of us wish we had when we picked up boxing gloves. So, you know, much respect to Jaron Ennis. Now, he scored a 6-round stoppage over Lipinets last night, the first guy to stop Lipinets, and that to me is a statement. That is how you make that's how you get the attention of people in the world of boxing, and the welterweight division, because nobody's ever done that to Lipinets before. Mikey Garcia didn't do it to Lipinets. Okiri Kondo, whom he won his belt from at 140, didn't do that to him. Lamont Peterson didn't do that to him. Castillo Clayton didn't do that to him. He's been in there with some good top-level operators, Lipinets, but nobody's did it to him until he ran into until he ran into Jaron Ennis from Philadelphia. So who could Jaron Ennis fight next? I mean, I think there's a lot of options for him. Realistically speaking, I know a lot of people want to see him fight Terrence Crawford and Jaron and Errol Spence and them guys. That's not going to happen, because at this stage in time, Jaron Ennis is still too high risk, low reward. And to fight him, win, lose, or draw, you're going to take some lumps upside your head, and they're going to be hard lumps, they're going to be fast lumps, they're going to be, very well placed punches by Jaron Ennis that will land on you. So you're going to want to be compensated accordingly if you're going to fight a guy like that, with that kind of skill set, with that kind of talent, So we know Errol Spence won't fight Jaron Ennis, because Errol Spence won't even fight Terrence Crawford. And there's so much to gain from fighting Terrence Crawford. So why would he fight Jaron Ennis? Errol Spence wants the retirement check to fight Terrence Crawford. Crawford isn't going to fight Ennis right now, because Crawford's working on that Pacquiao fight, and Crawford still chasing Spence. So I don't think any of those guys will fight him. But, I think one realistic fight for him, I don't know. He called out Ugas, and that was a fight that they were talking about for a while, Ugas and Ennis. But Ugas is supposed to fight Spence. I don't think Spence is going to fight Ennis. I really don't. So if Ugas fights Spence and Ugas loses to Spence and Spence is champion, he's not fighting Jaron Ennis. So I'm very hard pressed to find out where the hell this guy's next opponent's going to come from. I can't give you an answer. I don't know. A lot of people in a perfect world would say, oh, we want to see him fight Virgil Ortiz, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen either. So I'm going to tell you this. They asked Jaron Ennis last night, they asked him, to this performance, do you think after that performance people will get in the ring with you? And he said, I don't know. And I think after a performance like that against Lipinets, a tough, durable, credible, top 15 world operator like him, I think it's going to be, if it was hard to get fights for Jaron Ennis before that fight, it's going to be the hardest thing in the world, because people are starting to see what I've been saying for his last couple of fights at least, that this guy is the most skilled welterweight on planet Earth. Doesn't mean he's the best welterweight on planet Earth, because he's got to prove that against elite opposition. But as far as who has the most tools in their toolbox, call Jaron Ennis Bow the Builder. Call that motherfucker Handy Mandy, because he's got the tools. He's got the tools to beat anybody in the welterweight division. He's got the tools to beat anybody, anywhere, anytime, any place. And if any of these welterweights truly believe that they're the best, at some point in time, they have to give this man a shot, because if they don't, and I think listen, this is a message to all welterweights out there. This goes for Crawford, this goes for Spence, Porter, anybody who might have the names linked to fighting this guy. You're better off fighting him now when he's 23, while he's still green and still has some questions about him, than fighting him later if you get a belt. Because if you get a belt and this guy's your mandatory, you're gonna have to either fight him or vacate. And I know you don't want to vacate, because if you vacate, it's gonna be looked at as a duck, as you avoiding him, And I know nobody wants that on their reputation, but I think that's what's gonna happen. I think at some point in time, Jaron Ennis is going to beat fighter after fighter after fighter, and he's going to position himself squarely into one of those mandatory spots. And one of these champions, I don't know who it's going to be. It could be Crawford, it could be Spence, it could be somebody else who wins a belt, but they're going to be backed into a corner to where they either have to fight this kid or vacate. And either way it goes, the percentage of them getting embarrassed, whether they fight him or don't fight him, is very, very high, because this kid is that damn nice. And as long as he keeps working in the gym, improving, getting better, and doesn't believe his own hype, this guy can go all the way. I really think Jaron Ennis can go all the way and become not just a world champion, not just a dominant world champion, but I'll say it right now, I think this guy can go all the way and become the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. And I'm gonna leave it at that. So that's my little assessment and synopsis on the career of Jaron Ennis. I'm not sure who he could fight next. Maybe if he can't get Ugas, maybe next he could fight like if possible, Castillo Clayton. I think Castillo Clayton would be a good fight for him. I thought Clayton beat Lipinets, and Clayton has one of the best jabs in the welterweight division. So make that fight happen. That'd be a good fight. You got Kavaluskis. You got maybe it's Sean Porter. Since Sean Porter don't want to fight Terrence Crawford, go have him fight Boots. Have him fight someone. There's options out there for Boots, but hopefully somebody besides Lipinets, and respect to Lipinets, because Lipinets showed so much bravery and determination by signing the damn contract to fight this guy, because this guy is going to be a nightmare to get matchups for. He's going to be a nightmare to get people to sign contracts for, you know, because how do you prepare for a Jaron Ennis? How do you prepare for a guy who, when we talk about athletic ability, he's an A-level fighter. When we talk about speed, he's an A-level fighter. When we talk about punching power, he's damn near an A-level fighter. You could say he's an A-level fighter. When you talk about versatility, he's an A-level fighter. He's a very well-rounded, well-balanced fighter. And the only knock on him, you know you're a good fighter when the only knock on you is, does he have a chin? Is he durable? Can he take a shot? And so far, through, what, 27 fights, 25 KOs in the professional ranks, that answer has been yes. So until someone really takes him to some deep, dark, uncomfortable places he hasn't been, we're not going to really get our answer. But so far, from what I can see, Jaron Ennis is the most skilled welterweight on planet Earth. And if any of you welterweights out there think otherwise, then I would highly suggest you go out there and you go try to prove me otherwise. Because I don't think there is another welterweight as skilled as Jaron Ennis. Doesn't mean he's the best. Let me please clarify that. It doesn't mean he's the best, because you can be the most skilled and never win anything in boxing. We've seen that many times. You know, Ugas, when Ugas was fighting, Ugas was one of the most skilled fighters in his weight class. He never won a world title. He lost almost all of his big fights. So it's happened in boxing before. You can be the most skilled and still come up short. So we got to see if Jaron Ennis has those extra intangible ingredients that make great fighters. But so far, from what I can see, this guy's the next superstar of the welterweight division. So I'm going to leave it at that. You guys give me your comments down below. Make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just Kip from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.